Welcome to Everything Lead Gen, home of us market makers. My name is Eric, and every day on this channel, we talk about everything lead gen and performance-based marketing. And today, we're going to talk about frameworks. People ask me all the time about how to get traffic or how to get leads, and I'm going to get into that and I'm going to go over that. One of the things that I struggle with is when I start helping people, for me, I have major ADD. For me, when I focus, that's when I'm at my best. If I laser focus on something, I kill it. When I'm all over the map, it's just, I half-ass everything and I don't get anything done. I want to start off with something here that I learned recently from one of my mentors, and I want to explain it to you guys so you guys can understand from my perspective on how I'm going to try to teach you some of the things that may be complicated or you may feel overwhelmed. By creating frameworks, it's allowing me to simplify what it is I'm showing you how to do so that we can always go back to those things. And what frameworks do is they allow me to stay on the tracks. And I'm going to go through this right now and just show you what that actually means. And I'm going to explain right now what a framework is. Ultimately, a framework is a basic structure of a system or a process. So what it does is it allows you to take a 30-foot view and map out the process. Now, I learned this from Russell Brunson. Great guy, really knows the business well. I enjoy being around him. He's got a little bit of ADD like me. He found work for him was these frameworks, and he started to teach some of this, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. So I need you guys to just understand what this is before I start to just go in and start teaching stuff. You ever get a present where someone gives you a box, right? Last year at our holiday party, we all got presents for each other. One of my guys got a present for a friend of his, and he played a joke on him where he got him a gift. But what he did was he got him this big box, and he opened up the first box, and then there was just another box. And then he opened up that box, and there was another box. And he opened up that box, and there was another box. And it kept going for like 4 or 5 times, and it was pretty funny, right? Like, it's like, oh, you think you're getting something. It's like a box within a box within a box within a box. And eventually, he did actually get him something, which was really thoughtful. I kind of think about it in that way when I think about what frameworks are. While frameworks are systems or processes where you kind of lay out, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're like chapters in a book, right? Or there's frameworks that are sitting inside of other frameworks. If you look at it, it's a box within a box. So if you see on this picture here, I kind of like look at it, it's a box and then another box, another box, right? It really applies to how frameworks are. The way that it works is, if you look at it, we have our framework, right? So if we have a framework, let's say about, traffic, we would have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. This would be the 5 steps on how to get traffic. The thing is that when you look at this, there's the high level framework. But what I mean by a box within a box is, if you see here, there's going to be a framework within a framework. What I mean by that is, you see my awesome framework, and I have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Within step 1, now when we go into that, we're gonna have another framework that we're gonna talk about on how to execute on that first step within the main framework. So I hope that the visual is helping you out a little bit, because I want you guys to understand this as we move forward and I start to show you different things within this whole arbitrage space. What I'm gonna work really hard to do is create these frameworks, these steps, these processes, these systems. When it comes to this, things change all the time. You can go and we can talk about like how to buy media on Facebook or what to do on TikTok. First off, Facebook just changed the name to Meta. Things change, but they all have relatively the same concepts, the same frameworks when you're going and buying traffic there. The same things you're going to do on any platform all apply if you create the framework and you kind of back up and look at it as, all right, the platform wants good content. It's pretty simple stuff. By creating this framework and kind of giving you the idea of what you need to accomplish within the framework to have success will help you when you apply this to whatever it is you're doing, right? Whether it's you're buying traffic on Facebook or you're buying traffic on Instagram or Google or wherever. Here is like a simple concept of where I'm talking about the traffic framework. So if we look here, AISTP, this is my traffic framework. I'm using this right now and I can apply this to anywhere I buy media. What does it mean? Attract, identify, segment, Target and position. Do you guys understand that? Could I just walk away from you guys right now and then you go and you get traffic? No, you can't. Because you still need details on what it means. How do you attract users? How do you identify who you want to work with? Who are your potential customers? How are you going to segment them? What kind of targeting are you going to do? And how are you going to position your brand for your segments, for your potential customers? I wanted to give you guys this concept because what's going to happen is I'm going to give you these different steps as we get going. I'm going to dive into this a little bit more, but I wanted to go through this and make sure you guys understand what a framework is, what we're trying to accomplish. And ultimately, if not for you, it's helping me because it's keeping me on my train tracks. Otherwise, I can go down a path talking about how you can attract customers, leads, potential customers, right? When you're buying media, and I could start talking about that and just get lost, right? If I gave you a visual of this, which could be helpful, right? Here is the attract, where it's an ad, right? On Facebook, you're trying to get somebody's attention. Then, you're going to have people answer some questions in this awesome survey, awesome quiz that you're creating, this really cool thing where you're creating some curiosity, right? How do you attract them? You create curiosity. You make it selfish for them, something that will be something they can improve on or learn about themselves, right? They start to answer some questions. As they're answering questions, you're gonna start to learn things about them. So you're able to identify who they are. And all you're really trying to do when you identify who they are is to figure out how you're gonna segment your traffic. Which buckets are they going to go in? You'll already have your segments created. You already know. You just gotta figure out which one do they belong in. And once you do that, now it allows you to create a target market, right? Each one of these would be a different target market. When you have different target markets, each one of them should be different. So what you're doing is you're grouping them by similar characteristics. What you're gonna do when you position is you're gonna create some perception, right? Your product, your offer, your service does not have to change. You could have the exact same offer on the back end and sell it to all three different segments, but you want to focus on whatever that objection is. If you have people that are struggling with believing in lead generation and how to arbitrage media and how to use surveys and quizzes to generate leads, I have to focus on getting them to believe that this vehicle, this process, this vehicle, the whole survey method, the AI STP can work. Then I have to make them believe that they can do it, right? They're like, oh, I don't have any marketing experience. I don't have any tech skills. I can't do that. Neither do I. I don't have any tech skills either, right? You don't worry about that. If you're smart enough to know about your business, you can do this, right? And I'd have to convince them of that. If somebody's struggling that they don't have marketing experience, that could be an objection. Why would I talk to them about the vehicle? Why would I try to continue to convince them that this is the right thing, this works? They already believe it. So the idea is that you're going to niche down to focus on each specific objection. And then what you're doing is you're just positioning your product or service for whatever the objection is. If someone says that they have no marketing experience, then you then have to figure out how to overcome that objection to get the person to buy. If the person says, oh, well, I believe that I could do it even if I have marketing experience and I believe in the vehicle, but I really can't afford it. Well, then I would have to focus on that aspect, that objection. And what I would be doing is I would be positioning my product or service, market positioning, for each of those specific segments. And I would talk about just a simple little blurb. I would then focus and I would customize this, but really only like the first few like sentences to paragraphs are different. And when you transition into the part where you start to sell your product, after you get over relating to them and talking to them and explaining to them that it's silly what they're thinking, you don't need the money, you just need hustle and time. We have a system that you can execute this on. You don't really need tech skills, but there are tech people that can help you within, and this works. Plenty of case studies to show you that this works, and that's really pretty simple. The idea is that I would be doing whatever, I would be focusing there on the positioning. Just want to give you guys that idea, right? So like to high level, like we're going to be talking about these things a bunch, frameworks. It's going to keep me on track with my ADD. Ultimately, we're going to dive in and try to get you guys to understand all about lead gen. We're going to talk about how you can arbitrage media, how you can become a market maker. As you can see here, AISTP, it's a traffic framework for me. Guys, that's all I got right now for this. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, comment below, subscribe, share this. You text me 917-636-1998. With that said, guys, appreciate you. Thanks. See you in the next video.